These ages could be considered as special one-on-one facts for each character, but hey, this is just a bonus. First fact is gonna be about SpongeBob SquarePants. SpongeBob SquarePants wasn't the show's original title. The working title for the show that became SpongeBob SquarePants was Sponge Boy, which couldn't be used because a cleaning company had already trademarked it. The mobs with the name are nearly impossible to find records of anywhere on the internet. It's impossible to imagine SpongeBob existing under a different name due to the show's prominent presence in the lexicon of pop culture. However, SpongeBob is also much better name. If I had to choose one, I will go for SpongeBob SquarePants. It describes his goofiness properly. Patrick sometimes has more common sense than SpongeBob. In the series, Patrick isn't often portrayed as the brightest star in the sea, but as many viewers have noted, this may not have been the case at the start of the show. In the early episodes like Jellyfish, SB-129 and Cephalopod log, whatever that is, it's a running joke that Patrick is the one who notices Squidward doesn't like him and SpongeBob. It's SpongeBob who oblivious to this and assures his friend otherwise. This implies Patrick originally has more common sense than the main character. He's an octopus. This little known fact came straight from the mouth of the show's creator, Stephen Hillsberg. It was mentioned on a segment from the DVD of SpongeBob SquarePants movie. While that was stated back in 2005, still a lot of fans do not know this fact. Who can blame fans being confused anyway when Squidward has 6 instead of 8 tentacles and squid in his name? It was revealed that Squidward's lack of 8 tentacles was because the creator didn't want to torture the animation team. I like the octopus because they had such a bulbous head, and Squidward thinks he's an intellectual, so of course he's gonna have a large bulbous head, Henberg's head. He actually fired SpongeBob. As unbelievable as it sounds, Mr. Krabs fired SpongeBob. He thought that if he did so, he would be able to save an entire nickel. He didn't fire Squidward because he had seniority. Although Squidward can't cook, is rude to the customers and sleeps on the job. It was extremely short-sighted of Mr. Krabs to forget that SpongeBob is his major moneymaker, and but he is often too blinded by his own greed to notice the obvious. He would eventually ask SpongeBob to come back despite the nickel he apparently lost. Instead, he apparently installed a pay toilet to make for it. He has tried to steal the Krabby Patty formula over 1000 times. Although Plankton is incredibly memorable as a character due to its countless failed attempts to steal the Krabby Patty formula, many viewers don't realize the sheer magnitude of his failure. In the cartoon's 10-year anniversary special, Truth or Square, it is revealed that Plankton has tried and failed to steal Mr. Krabby's Patty formula over 1003 times, a number that has been surely gone up immensely since the episode aired in 2009. While this number may not surprise viewers since this subplot has been a mainstay of the series since its early days, it speaks volumes in regards to Plankton's unwavering perseverance as well as how he consistently falls slightly short of achieving his long-term goal. Perhaps Plankton should be commended for his commitment to reaching his goal, if only it wasn't a morally questionable goal. Karin was introduced in the episode Plankton along with her husband. She is one of the two main antagonists, as revealed in the episode Friends or Foe. Karin was just a security system when she started dating Sheldon. Her design is inspired by retro computers. Karin's visual appearance reflects her computer nature. She is designed to resemble retro computers from 1950s and 1960s, with her main monitor acting as her face and her body made up of wires and circuits. One infamous Sandy episode was originally much darker. The ending of Someone's in the Kitchen with Sandy proved controversial with fans who found it unfair since Sandy was considered naked when she was still wearing a typical purple swimsuit. Added to that, other characters get away with wearing less than her, like the typical pantless Squidward or the normally unclothed plankton. This plot hole might be explained by the episode's development. Originally, Sandy was going to appear naked. She was also given a much more skeleton design without her fur, possibly quite scary. Mrs. Pop actually has a pretty extensive criminal past, including ditching jury duty, boat jacking, and even bank robbery. She's also no stranger to skipping towns and starting a new boarding school with a new name to avoid her past in the bumper. We learn that she even has an ankle monitor to make sure she doesn't violate her parole. Pearl is the daughter of Mr. Krabs, a crab which presents an amazing biological discrepancy. The show doesn't explicitly explain how this interspecies parentage works, but it's delightful quirk in the world of Bikini Bottom. She's a sperm whale. Sperm! Maybe she's probably adopted, who knows? In the episode Rule of Dumb, something pretty major was revealed. Now, SpongeBob is best friends with Patrick and Gary, but did you know that Patrick and Gary are much closer than you may realize? Patrick and Gary are first cousins. This doesn't make much sense, especially in the real world. Starfish and sea snail don't have much relation to each other. Tom Kenny, the voice actor behind SpongeBob SquarePants, himself plays Patchy. Kenny's portrayal adds an extra layer of connection between the audience and the animated world of Bikini Bottom through Patchy's live action segments. Potty has a mischievous and teasing personality, often annoying Patchy with its antics, practical jokes, and sometimes obvious insights, which adds a comedic dynamic between the two. The interaction between Potty and Patchy often include slapstick comedy and a classic double act, with Patchy playing the more serious role to the Potty's trickster, whose French narrator 2000 years later. French narrator is voiced by Tom Kenny in the original English version of the series. Tom Kenny is also the voice behind SpongeBob SquarePants himself and several other characters in the show. His portrayal of the French narrator is done with a comedic French accent, contributing to the character's charm. In some episodes, the narrator has been depicting visually representing classic image of a diver in an old-fashioned diving suit, further connecting the characters to the exploration and adventure themes of SpongeBob. Mermaid Man is a parody of Aquaman and Batman. Even at his high age, Mermaid Man gets himself into a lot of crazy superhero situations. The producers of SpongeBob SquarePants actually intended him to be ridiculous and hilarious version of Aquaman, the DC Comics superhero who fights against villains underwater. To make him more similar to Aquaman, Mermaid was given a similar costume, tight green trousers and gloves, as well as the bare-chested looking skin color t-shirt. Furthermore, he wears a belt that says Yum for Mermaid Man, while Aquaman often wears a belt with an A for Aquaman. Mermaid Man's superhero costume got a few new details too, though. He wears a sea star mask on his face and scallop shell bra on his chest. Not to forget his comfy pink slippers. A trident like Aquaman's is, however, not part of his costume. But Aquaman is actually not the only superhero that Mermaid Man parodies. He also shares similarities with and makes fun of Batman. Notably is that Mermaid Man's belt has a lot of power, just like Batman's utility belt. Also, there are a lot of non-costume references to Batman. For example, Mermaid Man's secret superhero Operation Cave, Mermailer, is a parody of the Bat Cave from where Batman plans his superhero moves. Similarly, Mermaid Man's invisible boat mobile, which he always has a hard time finding when it is parked somewhere, it is a parody of Batman's Batmobile that can also turn invisible. And not to forget, whenever Mermaid Man is on a mission and wants to go somewhere, he shouts the name of the destination just like Batman does, and or at like he does in the Batman TV shows with his famous words to the Bat Cave. Barnacle Boy, as his sidekick, is thus similar to the both Aqualad and Robin, the younger companions of both superheroes. Mermaid Man turned Barnacle Boy into a superhero. According to the episode Mermaid Man Begins, Mermaid Man quickly became lonely living under the sea. So when he noticed a boy drowning, he rushed to his help and rescued him by using his superhero powers to put Barnacle into his lungs. Thanks to this, boy survived and Mermaid Man started calling him Barnacle Boy. Since Barnacle Boy was forever stuck underwater, he joined Mermaid Man and they became a fighting team for fighting villains like Man Ray and others. At least that is Mermaid Man's and Barnacle Boy's origin story, how they told it themselves. During the episode, SpongeBob, Patrick, and other two superheroes they continued to watch a TV special about a significantly different origin story, in which the two superheroes were actually two old friends who ate radioactive popcorn out of broken microwave, which leads to their superpowers. Mermaid Man and Barnacle Boy act like that alternate story is ridiculous, but we never get a definitive answer to which version was the real one in the show. Despite all the holes in Mermaid Man's memory, I guess his mermaid story makes more sense though. The Dutchman's power include the ability to breathe fire out of his nostrils, eye sockets, to feel wishes, summon walls of fire, turn people into tentacle monsters, shift into terrifying forms, flow through walls, among many other superpowers, other supernatural talents. It's okay, Gary. The Dutchman has also been the first place winner of the fancy nodding competition for the past 3000 years. He knows a long list of complicated knowing knots but still doesn't know how to tie shoelace since he doesn't wear any. Paramount and Nickelodeon contents, we couldn't even use images of Goofy Goober from the movie back then. Alright, so pretty much confirms that the reason for Neptune's design change had nothing to do with the actual series and more of what was going on behind the scenes. For some strange reason, Paramount decided to completely redesign to see God and they weren't allowing this version of the character to appear in the series. Every once in a while, when King Neptune did show up in SpongeBob, he would always look like this and have Triton has a son with absolutely no mention of Mandy. This one is final, Larry the Lobster. It's the only normal that the bodybuilder fitness loving lobster bikini bottom is naturally the strongest person in the town. For the most part that is the case, but there is one person getting in the way of the reputation, and that's the Texas squirrel we all know and love, Sandy Cheeks. Sandy and Larry always got along due to their shared interest in sports and general athletics, but in the episode Squirrel Jelly, Sandy actually beats Larry with a volleyball and that builds some tension between them. That's with all the facts I could find. I couldn't find much about other facts on the screen. I asked GPT, but it gave me very generic facts like who that character is, in which episode it was featured, and one two more similar facts. I think I should let the video be as entertaining as possible and not focus on completing it with all the characters available. I don't believe in GPT making my video more entertaining. So that's it. Am I head out?